Training camp is just around the corner, and with it, madness will come. Welcome to the OBR streaming network where madness is always ready and relevant. My name is Brad Ward. The man next to me is Casey Kinnamon, Big Case Dog. We're just eight tiny days away from rookies reporting to camp. And we're going to talk all about it tonight. Hope you all are doing well. Good to see you all here. Sorry we're a couple minutes late. Apologize for that in advance. What's going on, Big Case?
Well, I'm seeing the chat discuss it, so I might as well throw in with it. It's been hot, brother. It's just been hot down here. Today was a blessing. It didn't get above 93. Like that right there is a win. It's been 102 last few days, man. Just brutal outside. I know people in my neck of the woods in Ohio were getting a ton of rain there for a little bit.
Flood warning at the bottom of my screen right now. It says flood warning tonight. Lots of rain. Torrential downpours.
We get that. We're in our Florida zone right now to where like we'll get like a mercy rain later in the day for like 15 minutes and it'll feel good for like 5 minutes after the rain. And then all that moisture just sucks right back up into the air and damn near chokes you.
Yeah, it does. So what was the temperature today there?
It didn't get above 93. That was a victory today.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah, it's been wow, Jacob Roach. Good Lord. Put the safety on, young man.
Not lying.
Wowza. All right. Yeah, this is All Eyes on Cleveland. I'm Brad Ware. That's Big Case Dog. We've got much to discuss tonight. I titled the episode, what did I say? What was it? Browns get gear up for what promises to be a wild trading camp. What's real? Question mark. Because it's going to be madness, folks. And I just want to prepare you that it's going to be crazy. It's going to probably be, I think it's going to be one of the crazier training camps we've experienced. Expectations are middling at best.
I would say nationally, they're not even that.
Nationally, they're lower.
Nationally, dude.
I'm talking locally.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag coming off 3-14.
Right. And nationally they're lower. And then you've got the intrigue around the quarterbacks, and you've just got, it's just going to be chaos. Because as we've seen, Casey, you can say anything into the ether that is this zone that we kind of live in right here around Browns media, and it'll get aggregated. It'll get turned into a quote. It'll get whatever. And a lot of times it's like Mary Kay just flubbering out words that turn into something, right? And then
I'm having to have conversations about Terry McLaurin now because of her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then it's somebody else saying something, and it gets taken out of context and put out there. And with that being the way that it is, and the hypersensitivity to everybody around the situation. Because everybody feels like everybody's got a guy in the fight and a guy in the game, and it's not just let's see who works out for the Browns. It's like it's like a pressure cooker, right? And everybody's hypersensitive about anything said about anybody or anything. Stuff is going to get taken and ran with, and it's going to be insane. I'm just saying, calling it now, it's going to be insane.
Yeah. And there's always an overreaction to anything that happens during mini camp, training camp. Then all of a sudden there'll be reports during the joint practices, and
Yeah.
and it's like, I think you point out something very, very like poignant right there. It's very divided because people have a dog in the fight. So
Yeah.
anything that happens, like, see, I told you, when in reality it's preseason, it's not going to mean anything anyway. But people are going to add extra value to it because they've already taken a stance one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really even shouldn't be about like who's right or wrong. We should
About wins, baby. It's about wins.
Yeah, it's about wins, and this is an experimental period of like, let's see who comes along, let's see who does what, let's see, you know what I mean? But there's so many people that are entrenched on one side or the other. It feels very divisive at times, which I dislike. You know what I mean? Ultimately, everybody wants the Browns to do well. That's a Browns fan, but there are a lot of people that are in this that aren't even Browns fans.
Yes.
Right.
The one thing that I want to caution people going into this is, just because someone says something nice about someone doesn't mean something negative about someone else. Because that seems to be where it comes. That's where the tug of war seems to happen.
Preach. Yeah. Or like, if somebody says, somebody just needs to work on something, or they didn't look good today, or they could have done this better, and people start taking victory laps on that. Like, that's all. That's not. I'm just saying there's a lot of days. There's weeks of this training camp. A lot is going to happen, and it's going to be coming at you fast. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful what you listen to, right? Like, don't jump at the first 4 articles that say a very sensationalized title. Look at where the quote came from. Where did it originate from? In what setting? Was it taken out of context? Go listen to the audio yourself and judge it for yourself. You can find the audio on YouTube, or we'll play it on the React or whatever. It's just, I'm just saying, as Browns fans, it's going to be very easy to get overwhelmed and pissed off. Careful who you listen to. Careful in how you take stuff. Like, make sure it's framed the right way. Make sure, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think the first thing you said is the most important thing.
Who?
Selectively choose who you are listening to during this process, because a lot of people don't have the time to go back, if they see a headline, to go and listen to a whole podcast to digest whether it was out of context or not. So just do the first step appropriately. Pick the right voices to follow and to listen to. Pick people you trust that are level-headed, that aren't going to just try to get sensationalized stuff just to get you to click. Like, that's where it's going to get divisive right there. So choose your sources wisely.
Jacob says there was an article I saw this weekend that said Shedeur Sanders wants David Bell cut. What? And then the article just talked about him being on the bubble and not a word about Shedeur saying anything. Yeah, so perfect example. Don't fall for that crap. People can put anything in a title, right? That they want, really. And so, anyways, that's what I want to caution. We'll talk about some of the stuff that will be a little crazy about, that I've been thinking about over the past couple of days about this training camp and this season in general, that really has kind of come to the forefront of my mind here in the past couple of days, and just thinking about
the madness to come.
Yeah, the madness to come. But we have some fun things to cover first. So this one is great. This is so much fun. I love this. Let's get into it. You ready?
I'm all in. You have all my attention.
Do you know what I'm going to talk about?
No.
You have no
Shoot
idea?
For that, baby. Let's go.
You have no idea what I'm going to talk about?
No.
I don't have.
You didn't make another shirt of me, did you?
Spam! Spam! Spam!
No. All right.
No. Yeah.
No days off. Some KC radio / podcast guy, and that's the exact usage of the words in the title, called Patrick Mahomes fat and embarrassing. Mahomes trainer wastes no time in attacking right back. That's the title. So this guy, what's his name? Kevin Keitzman. Was on the air in Kansas City on the radio, I believe. And he's talking about this picture. This is Keitzman on the left, and this is Mahomes on the right. A picture from him on vacation. He's fat. He's fat. He's an embarrassment. Stop the fast food. Do a sit-up. Do something. I don't understand it. Can't just run through your NFL career eating Taco Bell all the time and door dashing fried chicken. You've got a $500 million contract. It's your job. He's done nothing but eat and drink this offseason.
First off, Kevin, whatever his name is, should have the decency to take his shirt off to make these claims.
Oh, he went on. He said he went on to say, you would be fat sitting around my pool with my friends and a bunch of 60-year-olds.
Mm.
Yeah, I heard the audio on this. Yeah.
Okay, let's just, for argument's sake, let's just say he's doing exactly what this guy claims. You can't just run through your NFL career eating Taco Bell all the time and door dashing fried chicken. Apparently you can. We're talking about a guy who's never played in this season in less than a conference championship.
Dude, it doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Who's the most ripped quarterback of all time that's had success?
Yeah. First of all, he's not fat in that picture.
No.
He's maybe a couple pounds over his playing weight. Right? He's never been like cut.
He's not always been honest.
He's always kind of been a little bit of a doughboy, but that's okay. He's like a freak athlete. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play. Does it matter?
Period.
Does it matter?
Let's do the exercise. Who is the most ripped quarterback to have real success in the NFL?
Yeah. Seriously.
Like championship trophies.
I don't know.
Super Bowl wins.
Who knows? Hurts? Maybe?
Maybe, right? That might be it. I mean, he lives in a weight room. His dad was a power lifter. You know,
he's not even a top 10 quarterback.
You're probably skill wise, 100%. You're right.
And this guy. So, anyways, the story goes on because Mahomes' trainer was pissed, right? And said, send me your location, Strope. Strope is it? Send me your location, Strope reportedly said. You've obviously need attention. If you want to see what in shape is, go make it through a practice at training camp or run hurry up offense, scrambling back to back plays. You don't have a clue what it takes. It's not a look, it's performance. He's right. Everything he said is right.
He's right, but he shouldn't even responded. Given light to the clown, and he is 100% correct. As we illustrated, there's no yoked quarterbacks out there. You know, I mean Cam, but yeah, he shouldn't have given this kid light. Like this is garbage. Yeah. Garbage work by Kevin, whatever his name is.
I know.
It's to learn his last name.
It's just so funny, though, when I heard it this morning. I'm like, what is going on? What in the world are we talking about?
And would this have happened if they would have beaten the Eagles in the Super Bowl? Is this the reaction to that?
Probably.
Like that's, I don't think that's why you lost to the Eagles, because you were out of shape. Like,
yeah. Give me a break.
Did you watch that game?
Good Lord. I thought it was funny, though.
Yeah.
Who's
fat. The most successful person I can just pick on?
He's an embarrassment. You're calling Patrick Mahomes an embarrassment.
God, I wish I was an embarrassment. Kevin. Can I?
Yeah,
that'd be sweet.
What a guy Kevin is there. So No, I mean he is a little bit doughy. He's not
Yeah.
cut up. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's freaking.
Do
He's
you
a
remember what
specimen.
Tom Brady's combine picture looked like?
Exactly. Well, Tom, that's what
He
the
got.
kind they were talking about this morning.
That's what
Tom
extended his career.
went TB12
Mhm.
at one. We got to a point where he had to go TB12,
Yeah.
and that's why he played into his 40s, is because he got all cut up and started eating avocado ice cream and
I
everything.
didn't stop there. He was getting hair plugs and, he had his face all worked on.
Yeah. All kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah. I mean, look at Brady Quinn. Exactly, kid.
Do you think Dan Marino was yoked? I don't.
No. I mean, he probably looked.
He had muscle on his body, but like
He probably looked better than Pat does in a swimsuit, but
at his peak, probably.
yeah.
But you don't think if Pat knew the cameras were on, he would have sucked it in a little bit and kind of.
I don't think he gives a fuck.
No, he
I don't
shouldn't.
think he
That's the
cares.
reason his trainer shouldn't have said anything, because this probably doesn't even make its way to Patrick.
I don't even think he cares at all.
Why would he? Why would he? He dude's out there playing for rings. Like,
Yeah. He does not. I mean, why would he
Patrick
care?
Mahomes retires today. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. Kid. All right. In other fun news around the NFL, Kirk Cousins felt misled by the Atlanta Falcons. This is the breaking news to everybody after watching the Netflix quarterback special. He felt misled. Really? Really? Do you think he felt misled?
Yeah.
I could have told you that, a year ago. What are we talking about here? Good Lord.
I don't get me wrong. Like, he completely didn't see it coming, them drafting a quarterback in the first round. But once again, what did Kirk Cousins do? Got straight paid. Like,
Yeah.
Everywhere that dude's been, he's maximized his worth. So it's, well, he was misled. Do I feel bad for him? Not a bit.
Yeah. Also, I saw this come across the screen today. Najee Harris will be okay after suffering an eye injury at 4th of July fireworks incident.
Oof. That's scary. I did not see that.
Yeah. Thought that was amusing.
Have you ever had a near miss during fireworks?
I don't ever set off the fireworks.
Well, no, you don't have to be the one setting them off. Someone else could.
No, but I
make that interesting for you.
I quite enjoy the YouTube video where the one falls over and fires into the crowd of people, and they all start diving out of the way. That's very funny.
Wu-Tang was in Columbus, Ohio last night. Run the Jewels opened up for him.
Last night?
Yeah, a ton of friends that were there and had to live vicariously through pictures. I've seen Wu-Tang several times in concert, though. And Run the Jewels. But not together. I am jealous.
The Toronto Argonauts own Shedeur Sanders' negotiating rights. Do you see that?
How does that work?
So they basically, it's like when an NFL player gets drafted.
Yeah.
They own their rights if he were to crash out.
I'm saying though, so they're hedging on him doing that. Like, they don't. Yeah. Is there a CFL team that owns Patrick Mahomes' rights? Like, probably not, right?
No.
So like, who are some other players that are in the NFL now that have their rights owned by the CFL?
I'll answer your question in 1 second, kid. We're gonna lead into that in a moment here. But I don't know anybody else.
Right.
But like, it's just big news because it's Shedeur.
Yeah, no, exactly,
You know
though. But that's what I'm saying. Is that's
all CFL teams are allowed to come up with a list of 45 players they would like to add to their roster. Sanders just so happened to be on the Argonauts list.
Mm-hmm.
They basically placed a bet that the 23-year-old will flunk out of the NFL almost immediately. Interesting, right?
Yeah. I would just like to know some other players that are on that list, and if any of them are as high profile.
Let's see what kind of nonsense this is. One of the top potential trade candidates for Cleveland is this is according to I'm calling bullshit right out the get, but either here or there, I'll tell you what it says. Do you know what it says?
No, sir.
One of the top potential trade candidates for Cleveland is former Pro Bowl tight end David Njoku, is entering the final year of his contract, and just watch the Browns select fellow tight end Harold Fant Jr., who can't play the same position.
No.
While actual trade speculation surrounding Njoku has been relatively tame over the last several months, many are now pointing to the new possible destination for the 29-year-old, the Miami Dolphins.
Didn't they just get Darren Waller?
That's what I had heard coming out of retirement, right? Damn,
I would put a way higher likelihood that David Njoku gets re-signed.
Yeah, no, he's going to get an extension for sure.
Right, I think that's what happens here.
Here we go, more madness. An analyst has ripped the Cleveland Browns for one key offseason decision. Well, it's safe to say that Matt Fontana of Big Play is certainly not happy with the Cleveland Browns' decision to add the former Pro Bowl wide receiver Deontay Johnson. The Browns were the only team to contact him. I wonder why, Fontana said. Maybe he's turned over a new leaf.
They're paying him league minimum. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, why is that a sticking point?
I like Matt, but some of these are just grabbing stuff and running.
That's what I'm saying. At worst, he's a camp body that you paid vet minimum and no guarantees, and then poof, he's gone. No skin off your back. But if it hits, that's huge, man. Like that's exactly the chances you should be taking with minimal money, right there.
You know how I feel about Johnson. I think he's going to actually play for the Browns. So,
yeah, I can't. I'm not going to go on any limb and predict what I think he is or isn't going to do because it's up to him to show me those things. But like how could you take issue with attempting it? No, unless you think he's going to poison everything and the season's going to go south because of him somehow. But
choose your shirt. You're right, Ty Sox. You said it, man. I was just reading through some of the surface level nonsense just to kind of give you an example of what we were talking about before. All right. So question from Kid was, who do we think is going to start at quarterback? Now, nothing has changed.
No, nothing's changed. My opinion hasn't changed.
So, but I do have a video that you sent me.
Feels like he listens to me.
And we'll play that video and then we'll answer the question. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Here is the video.
It's magic time.
Situation right now. I think, if I was a betting man, Joe Flacco is going to go into the year as the starter. He has history there. Cool. He's had a lot of success there. And I think it's a great story. He's a guy that'll bring calm. He's a guy that's going to be able to get them off on the right foot. And then as the season goes along, when you draft guys early and when you have young, exciting guys, and I know they're excited about Gabriel, we could see him inserted into the lineup, say week 7, week 8, week 9, if they've lost a few games. As a guy that's been a bridge quarterback in his career, usually that's about the time you look at the bye week, and that's about the time you get replaced. But I'm excited to see Joe, and he did such a great job in Cleveland a few years ago, and looking forward to seeing what he does again this year.
So Fitzpatrick weighs in. So here's the thing, right? Like, good evening, James. I think that the company line is they want Pickett to win the job. Or they're going to give him every chance to win it.
They're open to the idea.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett winning a job.
And then I don't think he will win it. I think he will underwhelm. And I think ultimately, like, the veteran support for Joe Flacco and what he shows when he does get reps, you know what I mean, will ultimately lead them to starting him week 1. And that's where I'm at with it. I don't expect him to start like a bunch of games. I'm thinking like 6. But if he could get him to 3-3 or 4-2 or 3-3, I mean, I feel like that would be a great contribution from him.
Yeah.
And then,
given the schedule, I think 2 and 4 would be like, okay, we didn't implode.
Yeah.
Because there is the way the schedule sets up to start the year, that's in the realm of possibilities that it goes horrifically bad just because of the level of competition.
Sure. I have higher hopes, but
I don't think 2 and 4 is enough to, keep rolling them out there. But it was like, I got to be honest, like because you put those rookies out there, man, that's if you start the year with a rookie, it could go way further south, way quicker.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I'm with you, Black Dog 5. I just want the guy that gives you the best chance to win to play,
and it's also about the locker room believing that shit that you're putting the person out there that gives them the best chance. Like you have to do that.
Yeah,
and that to me, that's why it's Joe Flacco.
Exactly. You can't sell this locker room something else
unless it's tangibly there. Unless they get in the training
they'll
camp.
know if it's true or not.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And someone's blowing the doors off of it. Yeah, by all means, man. But like, nothing can be given. Everything has to be earned.
Yeah, and I think that Joe gives you the ability to run everything in the playbook. He gives you the ability to make the big play. Give him a run game, a rejuvenated run game that hopefully finds its footing early. And I think that is the answer. Do we think that this matters, kid, when Pickett was found? Or when Joe was brought in? Does that matter when? In the timeline of things, does that matter?
I mean, it did to my psyche at the time because I was thrown.
It was torture.
But no, ultimately no.
Kid thinks so. Yeah.
No.
Listen, I'm sort of with you, kid, in that I think they're open to the idea that Kenny Pickett, like if you listen to CBD every day, the company line is Kenny Pickett, right? Like they're talking about Kenny Pickett every day. Like
I can't do it.
Yeah, they're talking about Kenny Pickett every day on there. Like he's
are they?
Some kind of baller. And you can believe that, or you can believe your eyes. I choose to believe my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I know very much what Kenny Pickett is. And so if he, though, somehow goes out and proves to Stefanski that he is the best player to go out and win games week 1, that's fine. And I'll root my ass off for him just like I would any other Browns quarterback, despite how I personally think of him as a player. I just don't think he is going to overwhelm or go grab the job. And I think when Joe gets out there, they're going to be like, it already have. I mean, people that have been at, camp have already commented that it's such a difference when Joe is running the offense compared to everybody else.
You're explosive, man.
And so, like, I just think ultimately that's going to be the conclusion, is that our best chance to win is with Joe Flacco. We've seen him do it before. We see it now. Yeah. So, and Joe doesn't need a ton of reps. So, like, I think what you're going to see ultimately is Joe not taking in a lot of reps early in training camp. And the further we get along, I think you're going to start to see him get ramped up more and more and more, because, and that will be
the
a sign,
clue, right? That'll be when
when
you see that he's starting to get more reps, then it'll be. But yeah, no, they're going to give everyone the opportunity, and they don't have to give him reps up front. I just think if I were to think what I've seen out of Pickett so far in his NFL career, he's not going to cost you games. He's not necessarily going to go out there and win you games. He's just the safe guy. He doesn't really turn the ball over a ton, doesn't put the ball at risk, but he also doesn't take the shots. He doesn't push the ball vertically. Coming off the season we're coming off of, I could see why that would be appealing to someone like Kevin Stefanski, just a guy who will keep it between the lines. But does the locker room believe that? Does the locker room believe that's the guy that gives them the best chance to win? I mean, he could go out there and prove that he is, but I'm in the same boat as you. I don't see a world in which he is the day one starter.
I mean, they're gonna ultimately lean on their run game a lot, I think,
so.
or try to.
I hope so. Yeah.
And you can do that with Kenny Pickett, but I think you have a better chance of, like, when they do that in Stefanski's offense, then you have to in turn turn around and hit on the big play action plays, right?
Yeah, capitalize.
And I think that if you're asking for your offense to threaten down the field when on big play action plays, like we've seen Flacco do before, or when the offense was at its best with Baker Mayfield and things like that, I think that is perfect for Flacco. If Flacco's thrown the ball less than 30 times in the game, that's a world that I would like to see how successful he can be in.
Yeah, my number earlier today when asked was 32.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the huck it, chuck it, because that means you're not in control of the game.
Yeah, exactly, Ty Sox. Like, I would like to see them attempt that, push the run game, see what they can do, and then,
And I'll say this, there was a fair amount of dinking and dunking when Flacco was quarterback last for the Browns because they couldn't run the football. But do you remember how effective David Njoku was?
Right.
In that exact like that's fine by me right there.
He had his best stretch of football.
Yes.
And so did Amari Cooper, probably of their career when Flacco was quarterbacking together.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't put up any argument against that.
So I think if I was Jerry Jeudy, I know what I'd be pushing for.
Was Flacco there in 2020 in Denver with Jeudy as a rookie?
I believe they missed each other. Jeudy said that, I think.
Yeah, I know in 2019, that's when Joe went to Denver. I didn't know if he was still there the following year.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. None of these guys are capable of just going out there and taking over and winning with no run game. There's nobody on the roster that's capable of that at this point in their career.
Well, there's very few people in the league that are capable of that with no run
game. Yeah. But even like a a middling run game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your best chance, though, I think, would be Flacco at this point because he can throw you into and out of games.
Yes.
If you had to get in a shootout. But I think you have to avoid shootout at all costs. The identity of this team needs to be we're going to punch you in the mouth. We're going to play really good defense. We're going to beat up your quarterback. We're going to harass you. We're going to turn you over. We're going to play ball control and take our shots when they're there.
Mm-hmm. It's music to my ears right there, man.
And
fast, physical, and control the clock.
Yeah.
Try to mitigate all the factors that you can.
Yeah. So he does. Yeah, I agree, Connie. He does. I think Flacco. Him and Stefanski. He's smart enough that he understands what he's trying to accomplish as a play caller. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry about Flacco finding the answers on a play. Like, you remember some of his best plays when he was with the Browns the first time were him just finding the hot read and giving himself 2 steps of back. Remember the David Bell play for the touchdown? It was 0 blitz, right? Takes 2 steps back away from the rush and just finds David Bell and he just runs in untouched. I mean, how many times have we seen a similar play like that with quarterbacks just can't find the guy, right? Or give themselves that half a second just to throw a simple 5-yard pass that results in 80 yards of green behind it. But like, that's what I think he brings and ultimately why I think he wins the job.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun, man. With Flacco at the helm of this offense, I think that it fits what you have piece-wise. Now, I still want to see one of these receivers emerge as a vertical threat, but we've been waiting on that year after year, regardless of who the quarterback was. But it's be so much more apparent with Flacco because of his proclivity to push the ball vertically, to go get someone else to kind of be outside with Judy. Hopefully it's Tillman. Hopefully Thrash has a pulse. Deontay Johnson. But I don't know, man. I know it was a 5-game run, and it was against some bad defenses. But anyone who watched those games can't say they weren't having fun. Now, the problem with that style was because you never running game, even if you had the lead, you had to keep throwing it because you couldn't run to move the chains at the end of the game. So, for the love of God, let's get this running game off the heap, and I think Flacco could do some serious damage.
Yeah, I think he could too. Given the right setup, right?
Yeah.
Now, some of the issues that I've been thinking about. You're watching All Eyes on Cleveland. It's Casey Kinnamon. My name is Brad Ward. Some of the things that I was kind of thinking about that are points of, I guess, maybe we should have been talking about a little more concerning. Like if we're thinking this year, we really got to learn something, right? So at edge, okay, opposite Myles Garrett, you have Alex Wright in his final year, and you have Isaiah in his not final year, but 1 year,
third year. Yep.
Through his 3rd year. You have both at corner. You have both Emerson and Newsome in their final year. Like, how does that play out?
I think Wright and McGuire's snaps will be fairly considerable. I think that they're going to play about the same amount in my head. But a lot of that's due to the fact that Wright will kick down inside. Yeah. I just think Wright will play inside enough that it'll kind of equal out to where they're in the same ballpark snap-wise as long as they're both healthy. And from what the coaching staff perspective, if you look at this for Schwartz and Jacques Césaire, the defensive line coach, rewind 1 year ago, and Wright was ahead of McGuire on the depth chart going into last season. and then Wright gets injured. Played decent when he was in, then gets injured, and he's gone for the year. And McGuire really stepped up and put a lot of good on tape. One of the better run defenders in the league at the strong side edge. And neither of them are bendy. They're both stiffer defensive ends. But McGuire's they both offer pass rush, but it's more of the pushing variety, not running the hoop. I think it just fits really well when you have Miles on the opposite side, that you don't have two hoop runners really. But just based on the contracts, obviously I think they would rather McGuire be the guy just because they have an extra year of control. And if it's right, you got to make a decision quick. If don't get me wrong, if he comes out strong, you could see a deal get done at the bye week. If that is the case, but I don't think they feel like they have to because they have the extra year of control with McGuire.
Yeah, I that makes sense. Obviously, yeah, but it's still difficult on what do you want to do with Alex Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ian, I don't think there's any question that Njoku's going to get an extension. For me, it's just a matter of when he gets one. And on the offensive side of the ball, like, I'm not that worried, Pat. If you start thinking, Pat, like, okay, what do we need to learn this year about this team on offense? Well, we need to learn a lot, but like, there's no like cornerstone outside of quarterback, obviously. But like,
I'm gonna table the quarterback discussion for this just because it's Pandora's box. We don't know what we don't know.
Offensive line,
that's mine.
You need to figure out is DeJuan Jones your left tackle? If he is, that's a huge find. Is like our next year, are you transitioning, Joel Bitonio to Zach Center? Probably. Tevin
Jenkins.
What about Teller?
Javion Cohen, they're high on him, you know what I mean? Like, but are those guys going to be ready to step into those roles after Teller? Because one thing's for sure, this offensive line as it's constructed, this is the final year of it.
The final.
Just look at their contracts. Maybe one of them stick around. Maybe they're able to, but the reality is, just look at their contracts. They're going to phase out of this. Are those is Whippler? Are these guys? That's what we're going to find out in the preseason. These are the guys that are going to play the majority of the snaps. Are they ready to step into those roles so you don't feel like you have to spend those assets next year?
Does Whippler feel like a real?
I don't know. He keeps getting injured. I couldn't tell you.
I have no idea.
They've had terrible luck with their backup centers just getting injured.
Yeah. With
the most minimal of playing time getting injured.
They should have kept Nick Harris around still. He's
same thing with him. He just kept getting injured. Like,
I know.
DeWand,
solidifying your left tackle would be massive.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a premium pick at some point down the line that you don't have to spend.
Mm-hmm. And you get an extra year of control. I mean, he's a 4th-round player. This is year 3. So you have an extra year of control of not having to pay that man like a left tackle. Even average left tackles cash in this league. Let's do something fun at the offensive line real quick, though. Who's your candidate for who's going to be the big that plays fullback? It's going to happen.
It should be Mike Hall.
It should be, but they did use who did they use last year? Defensive lineman.
Did they use a defensive lineman last year?
Yeah. Or did they use Winston Reed? They used somebody that wasn't on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Was it Reed?
Was it Reed? Might have been. That's a good question. I don't know.
To answer your question, MC, I did play center in 8th grade when they needed me to, but I was also a long snapper.
And here's my other big question, right? So Denzel is here. Obviously, we've talked about safety to death. I would love to see Donovan McMillan push somebody. You know what I mean? That would be a huge surprise. Like, what would be a major victory out of camp? A UDFA like McMillan makes the team, or Aiden Huntington, right? Are the two main guys, or one of the wide receivers, even, right? Floria, McDonald, whoever you want, Keyshawn.
Me, he was camper of the day.
Camper of the day. And then, but like, what, any of those would be a win. I'm fine at safety. I know some people have talked about they think they're thin at safety. I'm okay with Casey and Jenkins, and
I think they have I'm worried about their ceiling at that position, but not their floor.
right. Yeah.
I think they got some good stopgaps there.
Yeah, I do too. Now here's my question. Like, there's a number of ways this could play out in the secondary moving forward, but like, is Cam Mitchell or Miles Harden going to make a good enough case to play nickel beyond this year? Because that's a huge answer too.
Yeah.
Because then you could pick whoever's better you think on the outside. It doesn't have to be Emerson, although I hope it is. But I mean, if he fails and Newsom's better, it could be Newsom on the outside where he was best from day one. You know what I mean? Next year, and if one of these guys steps up. But like, to this point, do we feel that good about Cam Mitchell?
No, maybe it's also lack of exposure too. Like, we need to see these guys more. And it didn't help that as soon as we did see them last year, they're getting burnt in slot fades. It's like, because we had pretty high hopes going into last year about them solidifying that, at least as a backup position. I keep thinking about the Martin Emerson thing. If it was just 1 year of excellent play and then a bad year, okay, maybe we don't know who he is. We had 2 back-to-back excellent years of tape and then 1 bad year. And and he wasn't on the injury report, and he never talked about it in the media. You're not going to convince me that man wasn't playing hurt. You're not going to tell me he just became a worse athlete at the age of 25. Like, I think he's in for a big bounce back year.
Emerson, right?
Yeah.
Miles Harden. Yeah. Not Miles Hayden. Miles Harden is the corner they drafted in the 5th, 6th round last year? 7th round last year?
Yeah. 7th round.
But I like his moxie.
Was the 4th round, right? Or was he 6th?
Who?
Cam Mitchell. Cam Mitchell.
Mitchell was fifth rounder. Yeah, I mean, I think there have been those that point out this. This is what the detractors of Emerson would say. That he was better in the Joe Woods scheme. Hold on, I know he spent 1 year really good, but just listen. In the Joe Woods scheme as a big, long zone corner because all they played was that cover 3, Seattle cover 3, right?
Yeah.
So you give him that side of the field, and he was really good at that. And then when I've just heard this from people, right? When the scheme change came in year 1 under Schwartz, he still played great, but
the best.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
some are saying that
there was a drop off.
Every metric.
There was a drop off from like that year to that. I mean, he was like top 5 in every metric.
Every metric that matters for the position.
Yeah,
yes,
across the board. So he was outstanding. So then, was he exposed last year because people got tape on him? Was he hurt? I think it's more likely he was maybe hurt more than anything.
And Ian pointed out that he did get hurt in the Cowboy game, but I'm just saying he didn't miss practices. He wasn't on the injury report. I feel that he definitely was hampered because you can't tell me he just became a worse athlete at the age of 25. Like I'm not hearing that argument.
Yeah.
He's handsy. He's physical. Here's the thing. We keep talking about the curveball. The one curveball I would love to see in this defense is let the corners travel matchup style. Like if you got a big physical receiver, that's where Emerson's going to go. If it's a shifty guy, that's where Denzel is going to go. And I think that they would just have so much more success because I do think that it's column A and column B. Yes, the more tape you put out, the more ways you get attacked by opposing teams. So do they figured out if we motion a little shifty guy out to them, they're going to be open early. You know what I mean?
If we put Malik Neighbors on his side and whoever else on somebody else's side, he's going to have trouble with Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
He just is. So stop letting them dictate those matchups so much, right? As a defense.
Yes.
So you can do that in a couple different ways. You can disguise more of what you're doing on defense, right? You can allow them to audibilize in situations like that. Like if you want to go like quarter, half, like if he comes over onto, if they're going to motion the little quick guy over to Emerson's side of the field, go quarter, half, just call it before the play. And now you're in zone. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's different ways to combat this, but you have to give them the ability to do that stuff. Like, and I don't know if they necessarily have the ability to like call what they're comfortable with. I feel like it's because so much of the focus on defense is attack, defensive line. And the defensive line will ultimately be their best friend. Is like what Schwartz is always preaching, right?
Yes.
So like, but at the same time, you've got to do some things to help these guys. To your point, like let Denzel follow the best guy that matches up with him the best, or the best, you know what I mean? And then adjust behind them.
You also have Greg Newsome out there. So if it is a team that has two small shifty guys, let it like play into your strengths instead of just trying to be here's what we're going to do and see if you can beat us type approach.
It's going to be Denzel on the left side and Martin on the right side. And, and they did switch last year. And I didn't realize this, but when I was doing research on the corner position, the year before, so the first year of Schwartz, right? It was still, because remember Newsome was pissed after that offseason.
Yeah.
Was when the trade rumors came out.
He thought he was playing linebacker.
Right. And Schwartz talked to him that's not how they play, right? In his system, right? They don't in his system, if they're going to play that way, it's usually a safety like that's playing the run there.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a nickel corner more of the time asking to come play the run.
With
it's
run
more
fits.
Right. So, but they started when they were in base, which is hardly ever, right? When they were in base that first year with Schwartz, it was Ward and Newsome. And then when they went to nickel, Newsome kicked
inside.
And Emerson came on the field. Now, last year, they stopped doing that, and it was Ward and Emerson, and Newsome came off the sideline.
If you remember the training camp that Emerson had last year, that makes sense.
It makes so. I would have done the same thing naturally, right? But I just think it's worth pointing out. I don't think that's what impacted his play or anything, but it is an interesting adjustment that
that's one thing that did change from year 1 to year 2 in Schwartz's game. Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the defense, you're absolutely right, Ian. The defense last year is really hard to evaluate because they were so gassed all the time, right? They were put in bad spots all the time. But they also, like, they can't get off the hook on some of the effort things that we saw. Some of the breakdowns on the back end communication wise were just brutal, right? I mean, we're back to Joe Woods'
Yeah,
seasons,
yeah.
you know,
Unfortunately,
hand signals not getting all the way across the field, guys missing, cover stuff. Yeah.
And also when you get gassed and all of a sudden you're behind, and what's this team built to do? This team's built to attack quarterbacks and play the pass. And then when you're behind, teams are just running on you. And what do they do this offseason? They fortified their run defense.
Yeah.
Like you could see that they've acknowledged that was a mistake, building your team in only one way.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Where did Isaiah McGuire make hay? In the run game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Has he impressed you massively as a pass rusher?
No, he's adequate. He's not. No, but you wouldn't, if you were to start the conversation, he sets the edge. He attacks the run. He knifes down the line of scrimmage. He does a lot of the stuff that you need to do if you're opposite of Miles.
Right. But like,
Schwartz like I said, he's not bendy. He's not that guy.
Yeah. But like Schwartz, they don't teach play the run. They play the run on the way
to the quarterback.
On the way to the quarterback. And that's tough on everybody behind you. Like, 'cause they teach it that way, and it can be successful if you have the players, if you have the JOKs of the world and stuff like that in your second level. But like, linebackers are there to correct everything in this defense, right? They're fixing problems constantly because we don't care if you miss, a run lane.
If you're out of your lane,
we just want you to get upfield and cause chaos. The guys behind you will clean that up, which is wild, but that's what they teach them. And
dude, they got one. Schlesinger can do that.
JOK is a freak to be able to do that kind of stuff, right?
I'm excited to see him.
Now you're asking Carson Schlesinger to come in and do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting.
He's built for it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole defense is front to back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
if you look at Schwartz's teams over the years, they've all been that.
They're all that way.
I went. I documented everything he's done throughout his career. I mean, all the way to when he was at Tennessee. He only spent 1 year as a DC in Buffalo, but when you look at that defensive line, like it was built the exact same way, and every one of us stops.
And Pete always talked about last year they would do this a lot, and he's done this for years. But like one of the few things he does to disguise on the back end, because the Browns play by far the most man-to-man.
Yeah.
By far the most middle of the field closed in the whole NFL. And this is in a league that's trending strongly towards middle of the field open coverage, right? Cover 2. And if you or quarters or whatever, it's all middle of field open, right? Like keep it in front of you.
There's a lid on top of everything.
Right. But the Browns are the one team that's trending the opposite way. So if you look at those numbers, they are strongly in that, last year, the year before. But like if the inverted cover 2 stuff, right? It got him in trouble last year.
It did.
But it is a way to you know what I mean? Show.
We're trying to find that curveball, Brad.
To show cover 1, cover 1 or middle of the field close,
and then roll.
And then you're bringing a safety up, right? And then you're bringing the other safety into the middle, and your corners are playing the 2 deep, right? Now,
your safety that rolls to the middle has to have so much coverage. There's so much responsibility in that moment.
He has to be able to take away the seam. He has to know, because in that moment, he is so prone to.
Yeah, you're exposed. You're naked out there. You have to have crazy range.
And it's like, is that Delpit? Is that who is
That's
it?
the thing is Delpit's athletic enough to do that. but that's
Yes.
not what he's best suited to do.
No, he should be the guy all the
Yeah.
way up.
That's
Because
who Delp is.
with that, most of the time you're pairing like a simulated pressure where guys where they're dropping into the curl,
Mhm.
the curl flats, right, or the curl hook, and then your nickel's going out to the flat. One of your linebackers is sprinting to the other flat,
Sprinting. Yep.
right, and then now you've got Ward and Emerson as your too high, and sometimes. In those situations, if you get caught with two guys running a deep route on one side of the field, the safety have to recognize it, or you get Denzel Ward who has to play
Come off man.
to
Yeah.
the middle and one to the other and just play it best as you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's like his main disguise. That's his main curveball that he went to a lot last year. And I see how it can work. You see the Eagles do it. You see other teams do it.
But you pointed out like you're
exposing
anticipate
the wrong players sometimes.
If you anticipate that as opposing offense, as opposing coordinator, you can break that.
You can destroy it. I would just like to see, and vice versa. While we're talking about this, and I talked about it on the other show, Browns once again, and it's hard to judge them, but once again, second to last in the league in motion on offense. There's a direct correlation between offensive pre-snap motion and shifts and offensive success. And there's a difference between motion just to motion, and shifting just to
motion
shift.
with purpose.
But at a certain point, there's not. Like at a certain point, if you're just moving somebody, it's causing a reaction, and that reaction to a good quarterback means something.
Like the good quarterback's the most important part of that, though. If they don't know what they're looking at.
But for like last year, how could you do anything because of all the pre-snap penalties, right?
And they weren't even getting out of the huddle in time.
That's what I'm saying.
It was so clunky.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, if you can start to, for these younger quarterbacks, the rookies, Flacco, unwrap some of these defenses before the play, out leverage. Remember, they were doing this with Flacco when he was here in 2023. That's how a lot of that short stuff to the short screen stuff where he was just dumping it over the line of scrimmage to Njoku running wide open. That was just him shifting 3 feet and out leveraging a linebacker, get into his body and go right.
Yep.
Lob it to him. He's got nothing
Burn
but
and
green
burn
in front of him. You know what I mean? Like that stuff is
If Deontay Johnson sticks and it works out, he's a perfect candidate to run orbits, jet sweeps. He's and we know, for the love of God, we know Stefanski wants to run the jet sweep.
I know.
Put it in someone's hands who can actually do something with it. That'd be
I'd give it to Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at that. If that's look, man, I'm extremely happy with the running backs they did select. Like, part of me is always going to miss Nick Chubb no matter what. I'd have missed Nick if Nick played his whole career and retired as a Brown. But I love the running backs. I love the skill positions they took in this draft. I think they could be massive contributors year one. And that's even included Fannin, and historically tight ends don't do a ton year one. And I'm not saying he's going to have some crazy statistical output. But when we're talking about these, if we're going to play if it is going to be a close to the line of scrimmage, dink and duck type of thing between Njoku and Fannin, linebackers got their jobs this year, man. That's going to be a tough assignment with both those dudes on the field at the same time.
Yep. You can create some issues there. I hear different people talk about the way they want to use Fannin in different ways. So I think it's interesting what way they ultimately use him. How do you envision him being used? Like Isaiah Likely, or like a do everything? Where you gonna line him up?
Isaiah Likely was the first comparison I came up with when I was doing a scouting report for the Senior Bowl. Like, he's a move, man. I'm flexing this kid as a big slot. There's going to be plays where he's the fullback. and I'm motioning him out to see who you trotting him out there with.
Yep.
And if I don't, it's not even really a play. You just roll him out there and quick go.
Yeah.
That's 3 yards.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Who are they bringing from? They bring in from linebacker. You bring in a nickel in there. You bring in a safety up. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm moving that kid all over the formation. I'm very rarely asking that man to block, especially as a rookie. Now, there's going to be some certain situations you're not going to be able to avoid it because you're going to have a play that changed at the last scrimmage, and maybe it didn't go down the way you intended when you called it. But for the most part, that's my move. I'm just creating mismatches.
You have the Browns showing a lot, not a lot, but if you think about what we saw in glimpses from minicamp, there's some 2 back on the field stuff.
Yeah,
2 back on the field, 2 tight end on the field,
12 and 21 personnel, man.
And then to spread, that's what Stefanski loves. He loves that shit, right? Make it look all big, 2 tight ends, 2 backs, clap, spread. Nobody in the backfield. We're going to spread you out and hope our little guys beat your bigger guys. You know what I mean? Or slower guys. Like, he does that he does that all the time.
I think in general, what Fannin does long term is he just opens up the playbook. He opens up for a creative play caller. He just gives you a lot more options because of his versatility. Now he's going to have to prove to be excellent at one of those roles eventually. But while you still have David Njoku, you don't need him to do any traditional stuff. You can let him be that chess piece, man, that kind of dictates matchups.
So is Whitebeard good enough if Njoku gets hurt or whatever, or Fanning gets hurt? If Fanning gets hurt, he's good enough. But and
you can lean on 21 personnel and 2 backs and
right. But you do have to cut out some of the playbook, probably.
Yeah, you're not going to be motioning Whitebeard all over the place.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So if you brought in an Akins, you could probably get away with that.
Yes.
So do they keep Whitebeard or do they bring in like an Akins? Because so what if Njoku gets hurt for a couple games? Is Fanning going to do what Njoku does, or is Akins going to more likely to do what Njoku does?
Akins better equipped, and he did better on the end line than I thought he would.
Or is Whitebeard?
Last year when called upon. Whitebeard can do that as well. But see, Whitebeard feels like perfect practice squad candidate.
Yeah. So I just keep wondering if that 3rd tight end is not on this roster yet.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
Because either way you cut it, whether it be Fannin or Njoku missing time, you have to cut out part of your playbook for Whitebeard to step in.
Yeah. But Stefanski's comfortable in that scenario as well.
I know.
It didn't like tight end 2 in years. It wasn't like Harrison Bryant was like, oh, Harrison Bryant's not playing this week.
Harrison Bryant was pretty good.
No, I'm not saying he was bad. I'm saying, but he didn't open up the playbook. It wasn't like he played the same traditional type roles.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you could get a guy like Akins who doesn't cost a whole lot, who could do both of those roles if you needed him to.
Adequate enough as an inline, but he's better as a receiver. Which in effect, that's what Fannin is. I know he's going to take up a roster spot as a tight end, but he's a power slot.
Yeah. That'd be fun. That'd be fun if they use him like that, use him the right way. You know what I mean?
I don't think you draft that kid with not doing it. I don't think if you're going to try to square peg round hole that kid, like just let him be the unicorn that he is. He's already ready for it.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up here soon. What has to happen, Case? What are the odds? I saved the odds on the Browns quarterback situation. Do you want to guess?
Say that again. What odds are we
The,
looking at?
the odds on the Browns quarterback situation.
Oh no, man!
Do you want to guess who the favorite is?
I would say Joe Flacco, which means it's probably Kenny Pickett.
No, you're right. It was Flacco.
Should be.
He is the favorite at FanDuel, listed at -102. Even in the minus. All right, followed by
Gabriel.
No, you're not. No Pickett second.
I'm look. I don't envision Pickett playing.
I don't either.
This might be my bias. This might be me being biased. I just don't envision it.
This is the Las Vegas books. They have Pickett at +200 second. They have Gabriel at +500, and they have Sanders as the long shot at +870. Now, in comparison to other fourth string guys, +870 is actually a favorable number.
Yeah. It's probably the only one that's under 1,000.
For example, Russell Wilson sits at -1,400 to be the Giants starter. Right? Jameis Winston is +1,300 to be the starter in New York. Riley Leonard is +8,000 for Indy, and Jake Haener is +4,000 for New Orleans. So, $870 ain't too bad.
No, it's a pretty close grouping, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah, it is. Now, in reality, is it that close for you?
No, unless right now, as we sit here today, absolutely not. They could show me.
Paint me a picture, a path, any way that a rookie starts this thing.
They take it. They show up the training camp day one. I mean, and they take the damn job. Like it, similar to what Russell Wilson did to Matt Flynn in Seattle.
It's just that, it has to be that.
That's the only way I see a rookie starting for this team to start the year. Now, as this thing plays out, as we know, as Browns fans, all four could play very easily.
No, I would probably put my money on more playing than less this season.
Yeah. What all four playing, all four starting a game this year? Where are you at?
I think 3.
Okay. I think coming off what we've been coming off of, that doesn't sound unreasonable at all.
I think Flacco, Sanders, and Gabriel all start games this year.
Okay.
I don't think that's crazy to think.
No, I do. That sounds welcome to my ears, considering what we've been through these last few years with just cycling through these dudes.
The real question is, can you envision that scenario in a way where they're somehow still
competitive,
playing competitive football?
Yeah.
Flacco doesn't last.
Gets hurt.
First guy goes.
I think it's imperative if Flacco does start the season that he at least gets you to the midway point, to the bye week.
6. I want 6 games. That's what I want. 6.
Yeah. I want all 17. If we're being real, I want all 17. I'd like to see a guy throw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns in my life. That'd be sweet.
Listen, so I'm not down with this wide receiver room either, McLovin, but let's be honest. How many wide receivers are they going to be using this year?
3 or 4 total.
I don't see them going very deep into that.
I don't see them running 4 wide at the same time.
No.
Unless you're down.
Be a lot of.
You're playing dumb ball at the end.
Yeah, a lot of 2 wide receivers. Sets.
I think you said it earlier. I think we're going to see a fair amount of 21 personnel. Now, we're used to seeing 12 and 13 because of the way they've leaned on tight ends, but we really haven't seen them use 2 running backs all that often. I think you do this year. think there's a fair amount.
Well, I'm not letting it play out, Ian. We're just talking about it, man. Of course it's going to play out. Yeah. You guys were the ones that asked.
All right, before we go, let's talk some real stuff.
Yeah.
There's a helmet reveal this Wednesday. Do you have any inside information?
I don't.
Okay. So chat, sound off. What do you want to see out of this alternate helmet? Like what color scheme do you want to be dominant? How do you want the stripes layered? Do you want stripes? Do you want to just matte something? Like what do we think?
Do you have an idea? What do you think it's going to be?
No, I'm keeping my expectations very low. Will there be some form of logo on said helmet?
What if they just went all black with just all black with a dog on the side?
So you're just wearing that with the whites? Can't wear it with the browns.
No, black on black on black.
Like no, they're not doing the kit, are they? They're just doing the helmet. If I understood correctly.
No.
I don't think we get to unveil an alternate jersey. It's just the cap.
Well, they already got the white helmet, so it's not.
So by that logic, then the only thing they can do is do it the opposite of brown, right?
Brown.
Yeah. But what would you wear that with? The brown lid. Damn it, Pat.
I mean, what else could you do? You've got a throwback orange, right, with the number on the side.
But you're only eligible for 3 helmets. I don't think that's in their rotation anymore.
Okay, so that's gone. But you already have the orange. You have the white,
which I like the white lid, to be honest with you.
I love the white. Yeah, I love the white.
There's been some bad things that have happened while they're wearing them, which might skew how you feel about it, but it's a very clean look.
The cream, I can't see him going cream.
How opposed are you to some sort of logo, whether it's the elf, whether it's the new dog mascot? Are you all the way out on any form of?
No, I don't mind a logo, but it's got to look clean. Like it can't look like like it was forced on there. I like the numbers on the side. I wish they would go do that.
Yeah. Would you still use that same font, the one that they used the first time they did it? They ran it. The first time I saw it was back in 2008 when they played the Giants on Monday Night Football. That's the first time I remember them coming out with the numbers on the side there.
Yeah, the numbers were cool on the side with the orange, right? Those were orange, right? When they wore those.
Yeah, and then they broke those back out the first time they wore their all whites in 21. They had numbers on the side in 21 before they went to the 22 look where they matched the helmet with the all whites with the new lid. What about some sort of metallic helmet?
Ooh. Well, how would you do the jersey then?
Probably whites. White top at least, maybe orange pants with that, but white top for sure if you're going metallic helmet. I don't think you could do it with the brown.
So this was what was this? Hold on. 2022?
2022 is when they unveiled the white helmets for the first time.
Right. Here's the
or no, that would have been 23. I'm wrong.
This has 3 in it. Hold on. I'm trying to share it. All right. If this is so this was white. So this was the first year they had the white, right? That's not the white they use now. The white
they use the reverse striping on their white helmet now.
They have striping down the middle, right? Brown. And then this was the I like these orange ones with the numbers in
I would change the font on the number a little bit.
yeah.
It's a little too thin.
Yeah. So, I mean, what else can you do with them though?
I have a fear that they're going to do the normal helmet, but just reverse the collar scheme with brown as the primary,
Brown.
the outside stripes being orange and the middle being white.
Can we find something like that?
Dude, I've seen so many mock-ups, you'll definitely find it. But I've also seen out of all the dog logos that they've had over the years, my favorite one's the 04. That's my favorite by far. If they were going to put a logo on the helmet, that's the one I would want.
Ooh, this one looks like this one's kind of nasty. What about? I mean, you've seen like the black one, like I have behind me, with the yellow stripes or the orange stripes down the middle.
Say, did you just trade teams just now?
Nah. You know what I
What
mean.
did you do? No, I'm not opposed to it. I just wonder what jersey combination would you rock that with to make it look clean?
All right. Can you see all these now?
That one looks like Virginia Tech on the left.
The green one?
On my left. The middle, top left.
Here?
Yeah, that looks like Virginia Tech to me.
What do you think of this one?
I don't like the primary color of the helmet. But if they were to go with that logo for a game or two,
yeah.
I've always liked the elf, man. I like the elf and I like the 02 through 04 dog. That's the logos I like.
So, hold on.
Good. Can you go back once?
So
I want to say something.
What do you think about this green one here?
Well, okay, says that's something else I was thinking of. What if it's just like a salute to service helmet that they're going to wear in November?
Yeah,
that would work,
I'd
right?
be okay with that.
That would work, right? That would play.
Yeah.
But you scrolled the last page, you had a helmet popped up. It was Jim's helmet with a 32 on the side. They should have wore that here.
Page.
The page you were on before you came over to here. Right there. There's one. 32.
Where? Oh, right here.
Yes. They should have wore that when he passed.
Yeah.
They should have. And the 32-yard line should have been painted different.
Hold on.
And I think the 32-yard line should have been painted different for the first game of the year for every team.
What do you think of that?
I'm into that. I'd be into that one.
That's pretty
clean.
fire.
Looks clean.
If you wore the orange just like that, that's the only way it works.
Well, that's what I wanted for the collar rush because the first year they did the collar rush in 18, and I have a couple of those jerseys. I wanted them to just do that, but orange, do the opposite of what they did for their next collar rush. But instead, they went with just the brown out.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's okay, but I would rather that.
Could you wear this with the brown?
We never had success, so it's hard for me to be too attached to them. But I had an orange Courtney Brown jersey back in the day.
Yeah. Could you wear this with an all brown?
Maybe. Would you do all brown or would you still have the stripe in the middle?
On the helmet?
Yes, sir.
I like the stripe with the white in the orange. I like this helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be fine if you got rid of the elf and did numbers too.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, for me, the more simple you get, the more I like it. I actually like this one more than I thought I would because it's too busy almost.
We've been so non-busy for the existence of this franchise. I wouldn't mind it for a season.
Right. Let's switch back to. All right. Are we back on this tab now?
Yep.
Can you see? All right.
There's the white one with the elf.
Oh. Look at who's this? Clowny?
It is Clowny.
And an orange and a brown one. The white ones look so nice now. This is what
that's a super clean look, man.
This is the ones they use now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and those are perfect. What about this one? Too much.
I remember, dude. That's the dog that I like. I don't like it that big on that helmet.
Right.
But that is the style of dog that I like in the logo.
I agree. I don't know if you can do any more orange. What about what about this one?
It's very Virginia Tech-ish. I would like the brown to be a deeper brown, I guess.
I guess, yeah, but like with the plain and the stripes and the white, if you could wear it with the white.
That's what I'm saying. I think you have to if you go brown helmet.
And
I think it works best with the white. Although we don't have that orange jersey that we saw with Delpit a minute ago.
What is this? A fake reveal?
No, it's really happening on Wednesday, from what I understand.
I know, but they put this helmet up here.
Yeah, I would probably just get people to click. It would get me to click. I feel them.
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of like that one. Darker, like you said.
Yeah. I don't think that's the right brown.
But
I actually have the numbers that they use. Because, every collar is associated with a number. I have it somewhere.
Oh, really?
The actual orange and the actual brown. Because we were going to do the inside of my garage door that way. That's the other thing I said. What if it was metallic?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the one. Look at that eye.
Yeah.
At least they're using the dog. They're trying, but I don't know if that's it. I don't think that's the move.
Yeah. No. Interesting. What about like this?
I don't
know.
I like the white face mask.
Me too.
If you do that white face mask, maybe.
I don't know what else you could do. They're very limited in what they can do. I feel like. Don't you think?
Eagles helmet sneak in there. Oh, fucking Bengals.
Can they because they can't do a new uniform, right?
No, yeah, there's it's how terrible is that rule, man?
So this is
like, do they not like selling jerseys? Like, is the NFL like it's league wide revenue split with jerseys?
So this one's all black with.
See, I can't tell it's black because your light's kind of red.
Right. So, it's all black. Black face mask, black everything with the orange.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Harrison Bryant's signature. But what would you wear with it?
The whites. White uniforms. Black socks, black shoes. Black gloves.
Yeah.
It'd be badass. Interesting.
Calm down, chef.
Really? That would do it? We've sat through 1-31, but if they put something on the helmets, it's over. Dude, I ain't gonna trip over anything they do for 2 games. Because it's always a limited shelf life. I would rather, if they're gonna have an alternate helmet with a logo, I'm not gonna trip.
Wait, Fumble wants us to check the 1972 look.
Okay.
1 second. Browns. Now, I was born in 82 there.
I was born in the 1970s.
Hold on. You were?
Yeah. So 72 is a quarterback Phipps. Tell me if I'm right, MC.
Which one is it? What are we looking at here?
I'm not seeing anything on my screen.
Oh, sorry. That probably helped. Which
How would
one
you
are we
put helmet?
looking at?
I would put 1972 Browns jersey so we can see the whole thing in total.
This one?
The classic.
That's pretty close to what we have now, isn't it?
Classic. Take helmet off your search. Just put Browns
This
1972.
is what it says. Vintage
see what- I wanna see what the
1972
whole
right
look
there.
looks like.
That's it.
But I want to
That's
see what
it.
the whole look like. What did that look like with their jerseys? I want to see the.
All right. Is that right here? 1972. That's the whole uni. Oh, look at that dark brown. I like the darker brown. Almost looks black.
Mm-hmm. Well, cameras were mad shitty back then too.
Yeah, but it's
doesn't
clearly darker, right?
Yeah.
Or not?
It definitely looks darker. A picture of Leroy Kelly right there.
Is this what you wanted? Right here. That's enough of that. I want to see what this is. Now you guys can't even see what I'm watching. Good thing. Let's see.
Got porn up.
No. Hold on. I'm going to share it in a second.
The setting for the undefeated Dolphins to play Nick Skoric's surprising Cleveland Browns. Miami coach Don Shula might have been haunted by the specter of past games against these Browns. The only time Miami met Cleveland was Shula's first year, and the Browns shut him out 28-0. With Baltimore in 1968, the only loss was to the Browns. And in 1964, the Colts were shut out 27-0 in the championship game. The Cleveland Browns are happy to be here at all. They lost all 6
Dave Logan.
games and floundered disastrously
Let's go.
in the first half of the season. But they pulled together, and in a great team
He's
effort,
the radio announcer for the Denver Broncos.
10 in all for the
Look at
wild
those.
card berth in the
Look at that
AFC.
ball cap.
This man, Mike Phipps, has
There's
been the
my
reason.
boy.
One of the ironies of this playoff game is that it was the draft rights to Phipps that Cleveland obtained in return
Oh,
for
Warfield.
one of the most gifted receivers
Can I say this?
ever
This
to play
page you're on
football.
was Comrade
It was
Dobler.
one of the biggest, most
One of the
daring
best
trades
YouTube
ever in the
pages there is.
NFL, and
you're
it is now
you
paying
love
off for both teams.
Historical football.
Cleveland's very first play from scrimmage served to show young Phipps what he had to overcome all day, as his first pass was hit by 2 players and then intercepted. Or
Oh,
was
That
it?
hit the turf.
hit the ground.
That hit the turf.
Whether or not linebacker Doug Swift intercepted or trapped the ball had no bearing on the outcome, as Cleveland held Miami scoreless until this play midway through the first quarter. In super slow motion, we
Oh,
can see number 49, rookie Charlie Babb, pull through untouched to block
super
Don
slow
Cockroft's
motion,
punt.
Case.
Yeah, Don
Babb recovered
Cockroft,
the ball
dude,
himself
dude
at the
punted
5.
and kicked.
And then was escorted
Back
by
when
an
men were
honor
men.
guard of Dolphins into the end
Now
zone
you can't get a dude who
for
can
the
do both.
first
It's
score
wild.
of the game.
The Dolphins team went undefeated.
Yeah.
This
gonna
touchdown was
win.
important because
They're gonna
both
lose
clubs
all year.
agreed that if Miami
Spoiler.
scored first, a Cleveland comeback would be nearly impossible, considering the Dolphins' record-breaking ground game, which was capable of controlling a game. But so far, the tenacious Cleveland defense had stopped Larry Zonka and Mercury Morris. And it wasn't until Miami sprung Paul
Zonka.
Warfield on an end around that the Dolphins had any success on the ground.
The surviving members of this team still smoke cigars every year when people lose. Mercury, Paul Warfield. They had some players, man.
All right, that's enough before we get thrown off the air.
I am seriously though, Comrade Dobler on YouTube. If you're into historical football, follow that dude's page. There's all kinds of dope stuff on there.
Any new TV?
No, I have 2 episodes left, and the
night of
series. Haven't started anything new.
Well, hold on. So you've seen
then,
quite a bit.
Huh? Yeah. I mean, I got 2 left to go. We'll talk about it all when I finish it all. The night of.
It takes an interesting turn when he's locked up, huh?
Buddy, it's I without even seeing the end of the series of the final 2 episodes, I can agree with what you said. It's, in my opinion, it's the best self-contained one season of anything. So, I mean, they could ruin me in the last 2, I guess, but like what I've seen so far, it's
tremendous.
Dude, it's some of it's hard to watch. Some of it's
hard to watch, but
you know what I mean? Like it takes you, but I like that. I like feeling feelings, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. The character arcs and the characters introduced and the lawyer. I mean, it's just all fantastic. I think it's really well put together.
It is.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I haven't started anything new. You know, I'm thinking about seeing Superman this weekend.
Dude, there's new Always Sunny came out last night.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of it yet. I've seen some of the clips that get shared around, but seen Charlie without a beard. I don't know how I felt about it.
What? Really?
In one of the clips, it's just like a little 3-second thing where he pops in the door and he's wearing his black with the red striped jacket that he has, that he's wore throughout since 2004 when they first started filming.
Yeah. That's awesome. I gotta watch it. Yeah, I haven't seen any of it yet either.
Idiots! Savages, idiots!
Jesus Christ, dude.
Man. What else? That's I haven't seen anything worth that's interesting. Yeah, I'll be interested to talk to you when you finish it though.
Yeah, that we'll do it next week. I'll get the last 2 finished this weekend.
Okay. Miles treated Cleveland to dinner and a preview of the new Superman last night. Interesting. Dr. Seuss. Stories before bed. Every story I told, I came out of those 2 art books. Came back. Love that.
Autogram doesn't get the credit because it wasn't called the Super Bowl yet. But I'm telling you, the dude played 10 years, and all 10 years he made it to the championship game and won 7 of them. And before his NFL career even started, he won an NBA title. Like, doesn't get the credit.
Yeah, Zonka owns. They own a bunch of gas stations down near Lisbon, Ohio, too.
Yes, that's cool. I have talked to a few people that have met Zonka over the years.
Yeah.
I met an NFL player.
Who?
Aiden Robbins.
You told me.
Yeah. I walked into my gym on Tuesday and there was a dude working out in full Cleveland Browns, like team official gear. And like one thing that I am philosophically opposed to is I will not interrupt someone when they're working out. I'm not doing it. I have blinders on. I'm there to work. They're there to work. But it just so happened he was walking out as I was going to another part of the gym. So I stopped him and talked to him for a split second. He's a super pleasant young man. Massive. Aiden Robbins is a big man. And with that's 6'3", 248 or 238 he was listed at, that's legitimate. That is
so is he on the roster right now?
No, sir. No, he played for the USFL San Antonio team.
He was wearing all brown stuff?
Yeah. Yep. Oh. And he was in there again grinding today. He's putting in the work. He's staying ready. So that was cool. You know,
hope he gets a shot.
Oh, for sure, man. I wish we'd have gave him more of an opportunity last year when he had the chance. He was the guy I was most excited to watch during the preseason, and it seemed like he just never got the chance to run too much.
No, he didn't.
Super nice guy though, man. Like I'll put it up for him, man. Tremendous athlete. I do have another gym affiliated question, sort of. This is for everyone. So I have this. This is a protein shake, right? I don't know if you guys can see this. Can you see 2K and Sam?
Yep.
This is a Fruit Loop protein shake.
Okay.
They're made by 6-Star Energy, whatever.
Okay.
And it tastes like the milk after you eat Fruit Loops. And I was explaining this to someone, and they were like, "Ooh, gross. Who drinks the milk after you eat the cereal?" I thought everybody did. I need to get the pulse here. Do you guys drink your milk after you eat cereal, or are you psychopaths?
Well, I don't drink it, but here's what I do because it gets to taste so sweet and so good because of the cereal.
Mhm.
I'll put cereal in it
Yes.
until it's gone.
It's a 2-bowl minimum for me.
No, but like, I mean,
Yeah, you'll
until
just
the
keep adding
milk's
cereal
gone,
until that last bite's it all, and then it's
that's it. I won't drink the milk just because I'm like, I don't like drinking milk. It just kind of icks me. I know it's weird. My parents made me drink milk as a kid and everything. It's just as an adult, I don't know.
Mhm.
But I will, yeah. I'll just keep adding any cereal, really, because the milk ends up tasting good no matter what kind of cereal you're eating. So I'll just keep adding to it, even if it's just a couple flakes, right?
Yeah, just to
Get that last
goodness.
little bit of milk. Yeah.
I respect that. I'm a milk drinker. I don't drink milk like daily. I don't drink real milk ever anymore. But cereal milk, dude, I don't know. I just grew up doing it. But I would have a bowl of cereal, eat all the cereal, add more cereal to the milk, and then that milk gets so sweet and so good. And it's usually only a drink or two at the end, but like I thought everyone did that, and apparently I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people do. Most people in the chat are saying they drink. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And like this is exactly what this tastes like. Fruit Loop cereal milk.
That's interesting. I can't believe they make it like just like that.
You could probably buy it at Ollie's. That's where I got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
McClellan says a movie called Weapons looks good coming out. Maybe.
I'm not. I know nothing of that.
I'm not hip to that.
Called Weapons. I do want to see Sinners. It's on HBO Max.
I thought I did, and then I heard it's a vampire.
1930s vampire period piece directed by Ryan Coogler. I'm in. I'm gonna watch it. I want to watch it. I like Coogler. I like his movies.
Let me know.
I will. I like Michael B. I like some of the actor. Delroy Lindo's in it. Seen like a few characters that I like.
Oh, I like Michael B. for sure, but
MC saying he met Jim Brown and Greg Pruitt. I'm actually wearing a Jim Brown shirt right now. It really didn't show up well on camera. Barely see it. It's a Roots of Fight Jim Brown shirt.
Nice. I'm wearing the Ken Dorsey hoodie. Right? Didn't he always wear this hoodie?
The Doors. Yeah.
The Doors wore it like every day. All right. You ready to get out of here?
Yes, sir.
Hey, listen, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening, great weekend. And don't do anything stupid. Hit that like button. Make sure it works. Click, clickety clack. Hit that button. Make sure you don't apologize for your tomfoolery, Pat. We love your tomfoolery. Yeah, hit the like, subscribe. We're almost to 10K. Let's push us there. Meet somebody, grab their phone.
I'm saying that's my move. That's
slide
my
it
move.
right back in. That's how we do it.
If there's a phone laying down, I can get in it.
Can I see your phone? Click. Subscribed.
Hit on girls and act like you're giving your number and don't do it. Give them like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Just subscribe. Get them in the game. Love it. Appreciate it, Brandon. Appreciate it. Love you guys too. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. For Casey Kinnamon, you guys think parting words, Casey?
No, man. Hey, buckle up. Buckle up.
Yeah,
And we'll be back
about to
on
get wild.
we'll be back Monday night. Let them know. The night before camp opens up when the veterans report, we're going to be doing a giant roundtable. All
The 21st, 10 days from today.
Yep.
Today.
Buckle
21st,
up.
we'll be doing a camp special, camp kickoff, Monday night staff show. Be here, be square. For Casey Kinnamon, at Casey_Kinnamon, big case dog. My name is Brad Ward. This has been another edition of All Eyes on Cleveland on the OBR Streaming Network. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We are out.